Barakatay Hawa, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem, Racha Kodash. Welcome to another live lesson. The name of this one is He That Sitteth in the Heavens Shall Laugh. And pretty much this is a chapter that kind of popped in my head early this morning. A couple of times, I was meditating on it. And I don't really have a whole lot of precepts, just a couple of them. Some of them are, a few verses in different chapters. So Lord's will, we'll go through these, and Lord's will, the lesson will be edifying. And when we meditate upon this, this is really speaking to these, to these devils out here, these heathens, the heathen leaders, all of these different nations, beginning with Esau, and the people that it's talking about when we read the verse, it's talking about the Israelites. Now, this chapter, is twofold, because this happened back during the time of Yahushai. Part of it was fulfilled during the time of Yahushai, which we're going to get to that and show you that. But it applies to today also, because you have these nations that are in power, beginning with Esau, and they're trying to disrupt the Most High's plans, and they're trying to set up a coup, so to speak, against Yahushai, against the angels, against the Israelites. And we're going to see that in this lesson. This is exactly what they're trying to do today, and this is what they did back 2,000 years ago during the time of Yahushua. So what we're going to do is we're going to read the first couple of verses, and then we're going to go back in time to Yahushua's time, and then bring it up to date, Lord's will. So this is Psalms chapter 2, verse 1. It says, "Why do the heathen rage, and the people imagine a vain thing?" The heathen that is speaking about the other nations. And they are raging. Let's look the word. Let me see. There's a precept for rage. Number 1. Let's see what that says. Tumultuously assemble. Yeah. And that's what they're doing. They're tumultuously assembling themselves, to cause this, disruption. Because they think that by setting themselves up and doing certain things, hedging themselves up, that they'll be able to disrupt the Most High's plans. We showed you how retarded they are, but nevertheless, the Most High got them in slippery places. They're in a bugged out state, and they can't get out of it. So the word there for heathen rage, the rage part, is the word ragash. Ragash. It says to be in a tumult or commotion, to conspire, plot. And the word conspiracy means with breathing. So a conspiracy is 2 or more people that get together and have a plan that they want to bring out, and that's what a conspiracy is. And then another word here is tumultuous, to be tumultuous or rage. So they're raging because they're really thinking that they can defeat the Most High, and then the people imagine a vain thing, because Jake is imagining a vain thing. Now back then, the people was talking about was the leaders, of Israel, the high priest, the different priests, the chief priest, the different leaders of those different groups, Pharisees, Sadducees, lawyers, scribes, so on and so forth. The different sects of Israelites back then. And then it says, read the next verse, and then we'll go to the New Testament real quick and show you that. The kings of the earth set themselves, and the rulers take counsel together against the Lord and against his anointed, saying. So pretty much, you had your Herods, you had your Pontius Pilate, you had your different, individual leaders that were in control of certain portions of lands, whether they were governors or whatever the case they were in the land of Israel, and they had one mindset to come against Yahushua to overthrow him. So this is the book of Acts, chapter 4, and verse 23. It says, and being let go, they went. This is dealing with after they had Peter, I believe that was John also, and they were commanding them not to teach in the names of Yahweh and Yahushua, or Yahushua mainly because that was the name for salvation. So it says, and being let go, they went to their own company and reported all that the chief priests and elders had said unto them. And when they heard that, they lifted up their voice to the Most High with one accord and said, Lord, thou art the Most High, which has made heaven and earth and the sea and all that in them is. So this is a prayer that they're praying to the Lord collectively, right? It says, who by the mouth of thy servant David has said, why did the heathen rage and the people imagine vain things? The kings of the earth stood up and the rulers were gathered together against the Lord and against his anointed. And this is, like I said, this happened back 2,000 years ago, and it's also happening now. So in a sense it was fulfilled back then, but it's being also, bring it up to date, it's happening today also. Because you have to remember, when you have these different meetings, the different meetings of the UN, the United Nations, which you have all the leaders of all these different nations coming together, and what you see on television are the things that they allow people to see. But what is not seen are the other plans that they have behind the scenes, of, doing, these mischievous things, such as setting up, so-called traps, against Yahushua, against the angels, against the Israelites, because there's a lot of things that go on in the that are hidden to the masses of people, and because they don't see that, they don't believe it if you tell them about it, because they just can't picture in their mind these leaders coming together to do these mischievous things, which shows you that these people are not in their right frame of mind. Because if they were in their right frame of mind, they would observe and understand that, that these people, these nations are devious. They're not about the Most High. They're not about upholding his words. They're not about uplifting him, uplifting his people. They're about casting everything down, and this is why the Lord set us up to cast down imaginations, as it is written. So it goes on to say, it says, for of a truth against thy holy child Yahushua, whom thou hast anointed, both Herod and Pontius Pilate with the Gentiles and the people of Israel were gathered together, for to do whatsoever thy hand and thy counsel determined before to be done. And that's the thing. These people back then and now, they're only doing what the Lord already has in the script. But they think that they're doing something else, but they're really doing what the script speaks about. Because the scriptures say man's goings are of the Lord. How then can a man understand his own way? It says, and now, Lord, behold, their threatenings, and grant unto thy servants that with all boldness they may speak thy word, by stretching forth thine hand to heal, and that signs and wonders may be done by the name of thy holy child Yahushua. And there's going to be signs and wonders that are going to be done today in these times in the name of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. To let these nations know to back the hell up. Because, they're the same people that are alive today were alive back then. The same things they were doing back then, they're doing now. So going back now to Psalms 2:1, it says, why do the heathen rage and the people imagine a vain thing? So even today, these leaders, world leaders, beginning with the Edomites, they are plotting against Yahushua. They are plotting against the angels. They are plotting against Israel, the real Israelites, the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians. And they have these different traps set up, via this legislation, whether it's the jab, whatever it is to depopulate Jake, and also to make the ones that are left, perpetual slaves with the C ragamuffin. I kind of stole that little bit from the brother Amawan Gabar. He says C Ragma. I call it the C ragamuffin. So that's what they want, because they know that ultimately, once they get that digital all, which Elder Pastor coined that one, they know that represents perpetual servitude. And this is why they're pushing this so hard, and this is why they're pushing this technology so hard, and this is why you have people out there that use the term technocracy, which the word technocracy is the rule of technology. And that's exactly what we see going on in the world. That's why everything's being transferred, online, digital currency, everything being digital, 5G, and everything that they set up to put everything online so that nothing can be hid from these devils, and that they can control everything. This is why they're, changing people's metabolism, their whole makeup, so that they can be in tune with the technology that they have out here. Automatons, cyborgs, so that they can better control them by a flick of a switch. They can have people doing whatever they want, different frequencies. So it goes on to say, it says, and then you have Jake out here that's falling for this thing, like the old mummy or the old dummy, as Elder Bishop Menatazar coined on this guy Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. And many other basketball players, football players, entertainers, actors, whatever they may be, pushing that agenda, because they thinking that because they sold out, they're in a safe place. And they're not. They're nothing. They're in none other place than the sunken place. And once you're in the sunken place, you are subject to those that put you in that sunken place. So whatever they say or whatever they tell you to do, that's what you got to do. That's why it says that they that consent unto them shall be had in derision. So it goes on to say, the kings of the earth set themselves, and the rulers take counsel together against the Lord and against his anointed, saying, let us break their bands asunder and cast away their cords from us. Because unbeknownst to y'all, you best better believe that these international banking families, they know who the Israelites are. They know who the real Israelites are. They know about, the so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native American Indians being Israelites. This is why years ago, I wasn't there. I was told it, and I believe it. There was a limousine. I'm not sure if it was one or two Edomites that jumped out of the limousine. They read the 12 tribes sign, and they said, how did you guys find out about this? We spent millions of dollars hiding this. And I believe it. I know some people will be like, oh, they could have just been saying that. True, but I believe it. Based off of the scriptures, based off of everything that's going on in the world today, and the plans and the plots that they have to depopulate Jake and all of that, I believe it. And it wasn't a thing to where High Priest Ariel sat down reading the scriptures, and then all of a sudden in his mind popped up Judah, so-called Negroes, Benjamin, so-called West Indians, so on and so forth. It was in the middle of the night, the Lord woke him up, brought him to the school, and gave him all of the tribes, and he wrote them down. Judah, so-called Negroes, Benjamin, so-called West Indians, Levi, so-called Haitians, all the way down to Issachar. And then after that, he started going through the scriptures and the precepts, and the Spirit started revealing certain things to him, as far as, the characteristics and things that the Israelites would do at the very last. And you have a lot of people out there that have a problem with that sign, but yet no other group out there outside of the so-called One Westers carry that sign. And that sign is very controversial. And no one out there that talks shit about the sign can break down who those tribes are. Each tribe, Judah, Benjamin, Levi, all the way down to Issachar. They can identify them on the earth. And the little bit of knowledge that they do have from some of the tribes is based off of the One West teachings. But anyway, I digress. Because, this is what they're doing. They're setting up these traps via the legislation, via these different, agendas that they have pushing around the world. This is why they're squeezing people out that don't want to comply, like your medical, like different nurses and doctors and stuff that don't want to take the jab, and you know they're moving them out. And who are they moving in? The military. Because all along, this is what they wanted to do anyway, to eventually declare martial law. And what better way to declare martial law than when your troops are already in place? They got bus drivers quitting because they don't want to take the jab. And what do they have? Oh, lo and behold, so convenient. They have the military roll up in military vehicles, taking your children to school. How convenient. Unbeknownst to most, it was, oh, well, at least they get to go to school. I don't have to miss my job, because they, at least they're doing something. They're thinking outside the box. Meanwhile, they're just setting your stupid ass up the whole time. And that's what they're doing. And that's what these traps are all about. Legislation. This is why the scriptures speak about, him speaking as a dragon. And that speaking as a dragon is not talking about growling like a dragon or breathing fire. It's talking about this legislation that they're pushing out that's known as Draconian Legislation, which goes back to Draco, an Athenian lawgiver that would judge people severely, even for breaking the least crimes. For vagrancy, or spitting on the ground or something like that, they will give them the ultimate penalty. And this is what we see going on. That's why now they're saying people that don't comply, they can't do this, they can't do that. They won't be able to get on planes. They won't be able to, go here. They won't be able to go to these venues and restaurants and so on and so forth. And after a while, it's going to get worse to where they're saying you ain't going to be able to travel. And right now I watched about half of it, the video the Elder Pastor put up on his site, the last video he did on this guy Wham, and he was going all into it. How Canada, they're just about on lockdown. Australia is just about on lockdown, or is on lockdown. Martial law about to be declared, because they have an agenda. They're pushing along. They're not waiting for anybody, or anything. They're using this last almost 2 years crisis, to really push their agenda forward quickly. Because they had an agenda 2021, which we're in 2021 now, and everything is moving according to their plans. But they had a serious push, from this whole situation that people fell for hook, line, and sinker. All right, so it goes on to say, he that sitteth in the heavens shall laugh, the Lord shall have them in derision. And that's exactly what's going to happen. The Most High is going to laugh. He's going to have them in derision, because he's going to have them in a laughing stock type spirit. Because to the world is looking at them. The ones that don't know, that wonder after the beast, they're looking at this devil as some great achiever, some great they got him up on a pedestal. But the Lord is going to make him look like a laughing stock. That's why he says in Habakkuk, the 2nd chapter, let me see if I can find the verse right quick, like Habakkuk chapter 2 and verse 16. Thou art filled with shame for glory, and that's what's going to happen. Drink thou also, and let thy foreskin be uncovered, meaning your nakedness. The cup of the Lord's right hand shall be turned unto thee, which is what? This truth. And shameful spewing shall be on thy glory, because now we're starting to see the real truth. When you start peeling the curtain back, you start to really see what's really going on. What the truth of the whole matter is. And it's not pretty for them. And they don't like that exposure. But they're getting to the point where they really don't care, because they're just about ready to cement their new world order, which is their agenda. And one of the very last things that they said that they wanted to do was allow the conspiracy to be known, to allow their plans to be known just before they set it in place. This is why they put their, agendas, through what they call um, it escapes me at the moment, but they put it in their movies, predictive programming, which they do. They put in cartoons and sitcoms and movies and different things of that nature to show the people what's to come in the future. Sometimes they do it in music videos. Sometimes they do it, live events, where they have different artists either singing or rapping, doing certain ritualistic things to show what's coming in the future. That's that predictive programming. And that's what they got going on. But the Most High is sitting in the heavens and he's about to laugh at them. So now I want to go to this one precept. I'm just going to read the precept where the main point, and then after we'll go back and read from the first verse down. This is Psalms 37, verse 12. It says, the wicked plotteth against the just. And how are they plotting against the just? By these different legislations and traps and nets that they've set up for Jake to fall. So it says, the wicked plotteth against the just and gnasheth upon him with his teeth. So how is he gnashing upon them with his teeth? By way of this legislation. This is why Maya Anshel Bauer said, give me control of a nation's money and I care not who makes the laws. Because those that control the money, control the laws, control the people that create the laws, they're able to put teeth into these different laws to move or manipulate the people in the direction of their agenda. And this is exactly what they're doing. So it says, the Lord shall laugh at him, for he seeth that his day is coming. So the Lord sees that this devil's day is coming. And that's why he's going to laugh at them. Let me just see something. There's a precept here. Okay. Let me see what this says. The Lord sees that his day is coming. And we see his day coming, like the scriptures say, and we are not in darkness. Right, this is 1 Samuel 26 and 10. This is dealing with King David and Saul. It says, David said, furthermore, as the Lord liveth, the Lord shall smite him, or his day shall come to die, or he shall descend into battle and perish. And that's exactly what's going to happen to Esau. The more they set themselves up, the deeper they get into them perishing. Because the scriptures say that the Lord set them in slippery places. So in their mind, things are going along according to plan. But what they don't understand is the closer they get to cementing this agenda, the closer they get to falling. Because the scriptures say when he is about to fill his belly, the Lord shall cast his fury upon him, in so many words. So this is why we hope that this devil hurry up and do what he got to do. Set up everything that he's supposed to set up. Every time we hear about, the National Guard and the reserves and all these different things, going into different cities and, shutting down stuff around the world, we get happy because we know that the sooner these devils really put the crunch in, that's when the Lord is going to step in. Because the Lord said, when the enemy shall come in like a flood, that's their military, the Lord shall lift up a standard against him. And whatever that standard may be, however it's going to be something spectacular. That's going to make them jump back. And that's why they're going to be like, not going to know what to do. That's what the scriptures say. There's the sun going down, the moon going down, the stars going down. Because they're not going to have the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding to be able to put these things off as they have for so many years. Since they've been in power. That's what the Lord said, thou art wearied in the multitude of thy counsels. Getting together with witches and warlocks and different people that read the stars, astronomers and different people of that ilk to predict the future for them. But there's going to come a point where they're not going to be able to push that anymore. So going back to Psalms 2 and 4, he that sitteth in the heavens shall laugh, the Lord shall have them in derision. Now I want to read this other precept Just go straight to the point. This is Wisdom of Solomon 4:17. It says, "For they shall see the end of the wise, and shall not understand what the Most High and his counsel have decreed of him, and to what end the Lord have set him in safety." Because until this whole thing passes, and then eventually be raised from the grave, then you're gonna have, some of the elect that's gonna be protected, and they're not gonna know how they're being protected. When they because they think that they got every angle covered. It says, "They shall see him and despise him, but the Most High shall laugh them to scorn, and they shall hereafter be a vile carcass and a reproach among the dead forevermore." Yeah, because once you go down, that's it. You're going right into slavery, for hardcore slavery for 1,000 years, and after that, you're going to be rounded up and burnt, and never, ever, ever, ever again will there be a people on the planet called the Edomites, because they were set up to play the part of the wicked to be destroyed. They are those vessels that are fitted for destruction, that the Lord set up to fit them for destruction. The wicked was created for the day of wrath, and that day is soon to come, so that the world may know, when you run rampant in wickedness, what the penalty for that is. So now let's go just back to Psalms 37, and let's read the first verse. Let's see how many verses we get through on this. And I got one more scripture after that, and we may go back to Wisdom of Solomon 4, see how. So it says, Psalms 37:1, "Fret not thyself because of evildoers, neither be thou envious against the workers of iniquity." Why is that? Because eventually they're going to pay. You're only going to go so far with wickedness. The scriptures say, because sentence against an evil. Let me get there real quick. I can't think of the quote right now. Let me go to Ecclesiastes 8:11. It says, "Because sentence against an evil work is not executed speedily, therefore the heart of the sons of men is fully set in them to do evil." Yeah, but that's all right, because eventually they're going to be judged, because all they're doing is just stacking and making their bill, more and more. They're going more and more into debt, and unlike Israel, the real Israelites, so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians, when the Lord judges these nations, he don't really judge them to the very last moment, where he pours his whole fury upon them. But with Israel, he's constantly kicking us in the ass, because, who the Lord loveth, he chasteneth and rebuketh often, so that we won't be condemned with the world. So right now, these nations, they're not being chastised, they're not being corrected, they're not being jacked up, because where they're going is going to be total slavery, and this whole system worldwide is going to collapse. The Moabites and the Russians and the Edomites in America and the Little Hatters and the different peoples as different rulers of Africa and the different rulers of Europe and all around the world. This whole system is going to collapse once Yahweh Shai cracks them clouds. And this is why he's known as the King of Kings and Lord of Lords, because he's coming to take over all of those different governments of the world, all their different armies around the world, because it was given to him. And now when the Most High Yahweh unleashes him from, that the right hand of him on the right side of his throne to come down here, he's sending him down here to collect his prize. Because like the Apostle Paul said, now we don't see everything put under his feet. We know it, we read about it, but everything hasn't been, it's been put under his feet by decree of the Father Yahweh, but it hasn't been physically put under his feet yet. And that's what he's coming to do. He's coming to exact vengeance on his enemies, take his rightful place on the throne, and coming to collect or redeem the purchased possession, which are the elect of the nation of Israel. So Psalms 37:2, "For they shall soon be cut down like the grass and wither as the green herb. Trust in the Lord and do good, so shalt thou dwell in the land, and verily thou shalt be fed. Because in order for us to be established, these devils got to go down. Like the scriptures say, wickedness has to be put down in order for righteousness to flourish, in so many words. It's in the Apocrypha. Delight thyself also in the Lord, and he shall give thee the desires of thine heart. And that's it. Because on the right hand of the Most High are pleasures evermore. This is why it says that I have not seen, neither ear heard, neither have entered into the minds of men the things which the Lord has prepared for them that love him. And Yahushua said, fret not, for it is your Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom of heaven. So there's going to be many pleasures, in the kingdom of heaven that's going to be totally righteous. We just got to get there. It says, commit thy way unto the Lord, trust in him, and he shall bring it to pass. And he shall bring forth thy righteousness as the light, and thy judgment as the noonday. Rest in the Lord, because Jacob's not resting in the Lord. They're resting in this world. That's why whenever situations come up, they don't know how to deal with things. That's why a lot of them turn to, selling out, or turn to heavy drugs or heavy drinking, because they don't know how to handle this these sore miseries, because they have no hope. Their eyes have not been opened to the next world to come. It says, rest in the Lord and wait patiently for him. Fret not thyself because of him who prospereth. So it says, rest in the Lord and wait patiently for him. That's why it said, because you have kept the word of my patience, I also will keep thee from the hour of temptation. You see? So it's coming. It says, fret not thyself because of him who prospereth in his way. Yeah, because the wicked are prospering. But the Lord said, don't fret yourself about it. Don't even worry about that. Because eventually they're going to go down. And as sure as they go down, the ones that have been faithful to the Lord are going to come up. Because of the man who bringeth wicked devices to pass. And we see these wicked devices being brought to pass. We see these devils, prospering and setting everything in place. Shutting things down and setting up the infrastructure, so that people can be connected directly to the internet, frying people with this constant radiation that's, pushed out here, whether it's your cell phones, whether it's, whatever it is. And I just want to say this to you, brothers, that I stopped using them, those Bluetooth headphones, especially the earbuds. I stopped using it because when you have those earbuds, your phone connects to only one of the signal from your phone connects to one of the earpods, or whatever the hell you call them. Then the other one is connected from the signal of the first one that's connected to your phone. And guess where that signal goes to? It goes right through your brain to the other side. So while you're listening to, it sounds good and all that, but there's a signal going through your brain to the other side to get to the other side and messing people up. And I'll just leave it at that, ultimately the Lord, he got our back, but if we know certain things, why not try to avoid certain things if it's in the power of our hand? Verse 8, cease from anger and forsake wrath. Fret not thyself in any wise to do evil, for evildoers shall be cut off, but those that wait upon the Lord, they shall inherit the earth. For a little while, and the wicked shall not be. Yea, thou shalt diligently consider his place, and it shall not be. But the meek shall inherit the earth, Yahushua said that, and shall delight themselves in the abundance of peace. The wicked plotteth against the just and gnasheth upon him with his teeth. See, and that's what these devils are doing. And they're pushing heavy with that agenda through their legislation. It says, the Lord shall laugh at him, for he seeth that his day is coming. So I may come back to this, but I want to go to Psalms 83 now. Psalms 83. Book of Psalms 83 and 1. And it says, keep not thou silence, O Most High, hold not thy peace, and be not still, O power. For lo, thine enemies make a tumult, which we're reading about in the book of Psalms, the second chapter, or we read about. And they that hate thee have lifted up the head. See? And they have lifted up the head because they're in the power seat right now. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people and consulted against thy hidden ones. Who are the hidden ones? The Israelites. Beginning with Judah, the so-called Negroes. Because nobody in the world believes that we're the Israelites. That's why they'll give credit to Moabites. Moabites can be Israelites. The Ammonites can be Israelites. The little hatters can be, anybody in the world can be Israelites except for who the Israelites really are. So-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians, especially so-called Negroes. This is how far down we've come from when we first were established back in the ancient world. It says, they have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. So now we still hear about the name Israel, the land of Israel still named Israel. So it doesn't mean the actual name Israel not being in remembrance anymore. But it said, let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name Israel may be no more in remembrance. In other words, so that the name of the Israelites will not be placed upon the true Israelites. And that's exactly what that's talking about. Now, when we go to Numbers 23 and verse 9, it says, for from the top of the rocks I see him, and from the hills I behold him. Lo, the people shall dwell alone, and shall not be reckoned among the nations. And this is why you don't really have any seat, in the United Nations building. And the seat for those so-called Latin, the so-called Latin countries, there's seats of the white man, Esau. They're not the seats of the indigenous people, which are the true Israelites. They're the seat of other Edomites that are pushing the agenda of those Edomites. And even when you see Jake in those prominent positions, they're pushing the agenda of the Edomites, because if not, what happens? They come and they assassinate them. They remove them out of that office. So the indigenous people of those lands, the real Israelites, they're not being represented at the UN. So it goes on to say, for they have consulted together with one consent, they are confederate against thee, because they're trying to stop the plans of the Most High, which shows you that they're retarded. They're trying to establish their agenda because they think that they're going to rule forever. The inward thought is that they shall rule forever in their houses to every generation. They call the lands after their own names. Then it goes on to mention that the head enemy of all says the tabernacles of Edom, which are the Edomites, the so-called white people, and the Ishmaelites, so-called Arabs, of Moab, so-called Chinese, and the Hagarenes, which are either Hamites or the sons of Hagar. I haven't gone over that in a while, so I believe that they're either Hamites or sons of Hagar, but I have to go back and look that up to make sure. It says Gebal and Ammon and Amalek, the Philistines with the inhabitants of Tyre. So pretty much all these nations are in cahoots with one another. That's why you have something known as the United Nations building. And their plot and their plan is to keep the Israelites down. Now, to the average person out there, they don't know what the hell's going on. But the ones that are in leadership positions know. The scriptures speak about the kings of the earth committing fornication with this harlot, with this great city, Babylon the Great, and drinking of that wine out of her hand. So they're all in cahoots. The leaders of this world, they cannot be leaders in whatever country it may be unless they play ball with Esau, the head of all of these different nations on the planet today. All right, so now that was pretty much it on that. Let me see, what's the time check? Okay, still got some time, so let's go from there. Let's go to Wisdom of Solomon 4. Let's read some of that. This was pretty good reading. Wisdom of Solomon 4:1. It says, better it is to have no children and to have virtue, for the memorial thereof is immortal, because it is known with the Most High and with men. Yeah, because your children will carry on your name. It says, when it is present, men take example at it, and when it is gone, they desire it. It weareth a crown and triumpheth forever, having gotten the victory, striving for undefiled rewards. Yeah, and eventually that's what we're looking for, the undefiled rewards. But as a nation, we fell. So pretty much our name was stained. So now we're coming to the point where the Lord has given us that great status back. It says, but the multiplying brood of the ungodly shall not thrive, nor take deep root from bastard slips, nor lay any fast foundation. Yeah, because when we go to Psalms, the 92nd chapter, it says that I have seen the wicked spread as a green bay tree, but they were destroyed. And that's pretty much what's going to happen. That they do not rise up nor fill the face of the world with cities, neither them nor their children nor their nephews, so many words. Because ultimately, these devils got to be put down. Because they're nothing but demonic robots that were set up on the world to destroy this world. It says, for though they flourish in branches for a time, yet standing not fast, they shall be shaken with the wind, and through the force of winds they shall be rooted out. And that's that great wind in the book of Jeremiah 51 that's about to blow on this earth. Because the thermonuclear destruction, or the nuclear missiles from the time that they were created, was created for the annihilation and judgment of Esau and his world. It says, the imperfect branches shall be broken off, their fruit unprofitable, not ripe to eat, yea, meat for nothing, because they're going to be trampled down and they're going to be put in the winepress of the world when the Lord stomps them out in his fury. For children begotten of unlawful beds are witnesses of wickedness against their parents in their trial. And brothers, this is something that goes on worldwide, that adulterous spirit. But that's because this is an adulterous world. It says, but though the righteous be prevented with death, yet shall he be in rest. Yeah, because some of the elect are going to die, but they're going to be at rest, and they're going to be the first ones raised up, by Yahweh when he comes back. For honorable age is not that which standeth in length of time, nor that is measured by number of years, but wisdom is the gray hair unto men, and an unspotted life is old age. He pleased the Most High and was beloved of him, so that living among sinners he was translated. And we know about Enoch that was translated. We know about Elijah that was translated. And they were and when they were on earth, they were wicked people around, and they were delivered, the righteous being delivered from the wicked, and that's how the elect are going to be delivered in this time. It says, "Yea, speedily was he taken away, lest that wickedness should alter his understanding, or deceit beguile his soul." Yeah, because the scriptures say, that the rod of the wicked, which is their correction, shall not rest upon the lot of the righteous, meaning their position. Lest the righteous put forth his hands unto iniquity. Because the scriptures say that the righteous is more excellent than his neighbor, but the ways of the wicked seduceth them. You see? So if the Lord wouldn't leave a remnant, everybody would have went the way of these devils. Because it said if it were possible, they would deceive even the very elect. But they won't be able to deceive the elect because the elect are the elect. They have that special oil in them. It says, for the bewitching of naughtiness doth obscure things that are honest. Yeah, because what you have to understand, when these devils present these things to you, they don't present it as a thing that's evil or wicked. They come with deceit. And when they come with deceit, they come with a strong, seducing spirit to convince those that they're speaking to follow their ways. So that's why the scriptures speak about that they were virgins, they were not defiled with the allures of this world. I have reserved to myself 7,000 men that have not bowed the knee to Baal. So there's a certain amount of men and women, Israelites today, that are not going to bow to this devil's will, because they're going to have something in them that's going to cause them to resist it all the way, even if it means unto the death. So it goes on to say, he being made perfect in a short time fulfilled a long time. For his soul pleased the Lord, therefore hasted he to take him away from among the wicked. This the people saw and understood it not, neither laid they up this in their minds, that his grace and mercy is with his saints, which are the Israelites, and that he hath respect unto his chosen. Thus the righteous that is dead shall condemn the ungodly which are living, and youth that is soon perfected the many years and old age of the unrighteous. And this is why they want this, they want the Israelites removed, because it's a constant reminder of their wickedness, a constant reminder of the judgment that's coming, and they want that to go away. It says, for they shall see the end of the wise, and shall not understand what the Most High and his counsel have decreed of him. Read read Isaiah 57. And to what end the Lord have set him in safety. See, because it says that the righteous are taken away to be hid from the things from the evil to come. They shall see him and despise him, but the Most High shall laugh them to scorn, and they shall hereafter be a vile carcass and a reproach among the dead forevermore. For he shall rend them and cast them down headlong, that they shall be speechless. And he shall shake them from the foundation, and they shall be utterly laid waste, and be in sorrow, and their memorial, and he shall he shall shake them from the foundation, and they shall be utterly laid waste, and be in sorrow, and their memorial shall perish. Yeah, because eventually that's what's going to happen to Esau. And when they cast up the accounts of their sins, they shall come with fear, and their own iniquities shall convince them to their face. Yeah, because the charges are being laid on these devils. But you have to understand that the only thing we know about are things that are documented. We don't know about all the stuff that's been undocumented, the brutalities and atrocities that these devils have committed, that we have no clue about. We only know about stuff that was documented. But the Heavenly Father knows everything that wasn't documented, because he has everything, in store. He has everything, in memory. You see? So the things that we know as gross and atrocious as they are, as heinous as they can be, there's far more greater wicked things that these devils have done that we don't even know about. But the Most High sees, though. It's an inside joke. All right, so with that, that was it on that. It's almost that time anyway. So with that, I pray that your brothers and your few sisters have been edified. This has been He That Sitteth in the Heavens Shall Laugh, because these devils are planning to try and stop the Most High, trying to stop Yahushua, trying to stop the elect from rising up. And they're going to be, in a bad case, because they're going to be in derision. They're going to be the real laughing stock. As we were the laughing stock in this society, they're going to be the laughing stock in the world to come. So with that, I pray that you brothers and few sisters have been edified. To the next time I say, Shalom.